Hi, I'm Mr. Blakley.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Addie.
I'm Peter.
I'm Maggie.
I'm Mia.
I'm Veronica. I'm Cameron.
I'm Julian.
I'm Lily. I'm John.
And welcome to this special Drawing with the Blakeleys with the 4th grade class. Yay! So they chose this as a reward for good behavior in my class, so this is going to be a special edition. And, hey Peter, what are we drawing today?
Link.
We're drawing Link, yes. We're drawing a cartoon version of him. So,
Yay.
check it out. Let's go draw! Awesome! Alright, here we go. Link from Zelda. So, this should be interesting. Hopefully a lot of fun. And let's go ahead and get started with, of course, the eyes. Because that's always where I start. Now, recently somebody said to me, and that somebody was, of course, my son Max. He said, "Why always the eyes, Dad? Why not start with the shape of the head?" And that is a place where a lot of people do start. Just starting with the close eye. His head is going to be slightly turned away. In this version, this is kind of the cartoon version of Link, and he is firing a bow and arrow, so his head is slightly turned away from the viewer. That certainly is a way to do it. I'm sorry, just to go back here. That certainly is a way to do it, what Max was asking me about. Like, you could start with the shape of the head. And if we were doing this in pencil first, right? Not like, obviously the way I'm doing it for this video is with marker, because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing here. If we were not doing it that way, if we were not doing we were doing a pencil sketch versus something in marker, that is certainly a way to operate. That's a way a lot of people do operate. Sorry, we did the eyes, did the eyebrows, now we're doing the hairline here. And yeah, that certainly is, like, a lot of times when I sketch, I will start with like a lightly sketched in head shape and then move on. Now that's not how I typically do it in these videos. It's just a different approach. There's not necessarily a right or wrong way. Some ways are easier and some ways are somewhat harder, but they're just different versions to arrive at the same thing. I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to draw. It's just the way that you out there are going to find works for you. And if you're watching my videos, hopefully that this version is a version that does something for you. Obviously I am defining a lot of the features. If I was doing pencil, I could start with a circle here, find the placement for the eyes and nose and mouth. And that certainly is another way to work. I'm going to do one of Link's most distinguishing features here, which is his hat. So we'll go on the top, and it's kind of back behind his head. I'm going to come from down here behind his hair, and I tend to do things in a sort of generally front to back is a way I would call it. It's I tend to draw things in the foreground as much as I can first, because then you don't have to go back over and erase things. And when you're doing your originals in marker, you obviously can't erase things, and you just end up having to cross them out or paint them over. So there is going to be like a bow and arrow in this area, so I'm just going to extend his cheek down to about here where the arrow will come through. We'll leave it at that. Give him a little bit of a nose. Give him kind of a mouth here. And in case I don't think I mentioned it earlier, this is kind of the cartoon version of Link. Toon Link, I've heard it described as. So the way I'm going to do this to keep everything lined up is I'm actually going to draw the arrow from back to front, and that will help define where the rest of the stuff is. So the fletching of the arrow, the actual, feather part, is going to be right here. Okay, that's the top bit. A little space there, and then do the bottom bit. All right, now in between these two, we can do the actual arrow itself. It's going to come up here. Draw a parallel line right back here. Oops. Didn't actually mean for that to do that. And now we can draw the arrowhead. And the reason I'm drawing the arrowhead before I draw the bow is, again, the arrow is in front of the bow, which we'll see here in a minute. So we have the full arrow, sort of line here to indicate the top and bottom sides of that. It's going to be sitting on top of Link's finger. Right, he's resting it on top. Those of you who've shot bow and arrow before know what that looks like. And then the rest of his hand coming down, going back here to grip the bow, and up. And continue that line, and just extend it a little bit. There's our fingers. Thumb's going to come down like that. And here's the back of the hand, and we're going to leave a little space there for the actual bow as it comes up and down. So as far as the bow itself, we'll go here, curve it back up, over the top. Oops. And then it's going to get wider as it comes down towards Link's hand. Awesome. Now same thing on the other side. We'll continue this line down. And about to there. It's going to be, again, because we're looking up at Link, the bottom part here is going to be much further down. Twist it back the other way, as we have there. Okay. And then it's going to get wider as it goes towards his hand. Boom. Awesome. Let's give it a little bit of like a wound around grip here. And same thing on the bottom here. And that's just like some kind of a, it's wrapped around there. All right, now we need that, just to indicate that's the top and bottom there. And now here is our bowstring coming back towards there. And it's going to be back towards the back of the arrow here, where those will line up, but that's going to be behind the fletching. Oh, before I go too far, let's do some stripes to indicate the fletching itself. This line is actually going to continue to here. And then I'm going to have Link's hand actually gripping the arrow. And coming back around like that. And then on the other side, we're going to go more or less like that. Connect that back to there. A little bit of a thumb coming at the bottom. Nice. All right, now, before we get too far away, let's come back here and we'll finish up the sleeve. And we'll draw that going back in towards his body. Coming back in towards his kind of tunic thing that he's wearing. Bring that down. All right, over here, we're gonna bring that arm around. Here's the arm pulling back the bow. Nice, and then into his kind of tunic here. Bring that all the way down. Now we stopped here because I want to put a belt right in this area. Before I do that though, let's come back and finish up the top of the tunic. Yeah, so this belt is okay. It's okay here because it's not going to be in the way, but here we go. Belt and belt. And let's start in the center here. We'll make this kind of a spiraling belt buckle thing there. Alright, and then we'll continue this down so they can line up with the bottom of his thing here. And down to the pants. And he's got this one leg cocked really far forward in the way that an archer would. And then his foot planted right down here. And then we'll do his back leg here. It's going to be a little bit smaller because it's a little bit farther away from the viewer. Awesome. Boot. Yay. Now one more thing we need is quiver. Most of it's going to obviously be hidden behind his back, but his thing here has a couple swirls like that on it. All right. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. I liked doing that. So let's do some coloring. That was our video. Check out the bottom of the screen down here to see all of our final pictures.
And don't forget to
like and subscribe!
Yes, like and subscribe. You should see our logo down here at the bottom, a couple of additional videos. Click those links, and thank you so much.
Links.
Links, yes.
Links.